Hello and welcome to GameRules.com. My name is Mark, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Spots. This is a push your luck dice game where you are trying to roll dice, assign them to your dog cards, and be the first player to successfully lock in 6 of those dog cards. What does all that mean? Let's dive in, find out. And out of the box, you will get an instruction booklet, a deck of dog cards, 4 backyard cards, a big ol' stack of trick cards, 40 dice, and a bunch of treats. To set up the game, you will put 6 trick tiles out in the center of the board. This is the starting lineup of tricks that the rule book suggests you start with for your first game. There are a whole bunch of different tricks that you can incorporate later. For this example, we're going to use that starting 6. You will shuffle the dog deck and deal 2 cards to each player, making sure that the gray side is face up. Each player gets 1 yard card and 1 treat. Place all of the dice and the treats within reach of all the players, and then each player rolls 1 die and places that die in their yard. Whoever rolls the highest yard die will go first, and if there's a tie for highest, the players involved in that tie will re-roll. On your turn, you will either do a trick or score a dog. A dog cannot be scored until it is completed. So on most turns, you are going to be doing tricks. Tricks will allow you to do certain things. They'll allow you to roll a certain number of dice or perform special actions. For example, on this first player's turn, they choose to do the run trick. When you choose a trick, you flip it over, and then you do what the card says. It says to roll 3 dice, and then you may roll 1 die. You may repeat this second step as many times as you want. So now this player must roll 3, and then they have the choice of rolling additional dice until they either stop or bust, which we'll talk about here in a moment. So let's go ahead and roll the first 3 dice of this player's turn. Once dice are rolled, you may place them on the dog cards. Any die that cannot be placed goes into your yard. So let's go ahead and play through this. Our player rolled a 5, goes here. They rolled a 1, it can go on this card. And they are left with a 2 that cannot be played, so it goes to their yard. Now is a good time to talk about busting. Every card has a limit of 7 in their bust pile or their backyard. When a player adds enough dice to their yard that brings the total value more than 7, they bust. And that means they lose all the dice from this area plus all of the dice off of their unfinished dogs. At this point, our player is at 5. They've completed the first step of their trick card, and now they have the option to choose a die and roll it. Let's see how they do. They rolled a 6, and they needed a 6. They place it on Gretchen the dog, and they decide to stop there. If they wanted, they could continue to grab 1 die and roll it until they either completed their dogs or busted, or chose to quit. Since player 1 ended their turn, play would pass left to the next player, and they would also do a trick or score dogs. Let's jump ahead here and come back to player 1. Now, it is their turn, and they have 1 dog that is completed and ready to be scored. So they could choose to do a trick and try to fill in this dog and finish bongo, or they could choose just to score this dog that's already complete. Let's have them do that for this turn. So all they got to do is remove the 2 dice from the completed card and turn it over. The dice are added back to the pool. When you score a dog, you draw a card to replace it. That card is placed face up, gray side up, and now it can be played upon. If you were to score more than 1 dog on a turn, you would draw that many dogs. So if I would have finished bongo and I would have scored that too, I would have drawn 2 new cards. Keep in mind that the limit of dogs you can have in your pack is 6 dogs. So you'll never have more than 6 cards in front of you. So if you score dogs in such a way that you would draw more than 6, you simply stop at your 6th dog. All right, we fast forwarded a little bit so that player 2 took another turn. So the order of events was player 1 ran, player 2 then walked and took their turn. Player 1 scored Gretchen, as you just saw, and then player 2 took their turn and rolled over. So it is player 1's turn again, and I want to show you how to use your treats. So let's go ahead and have them howl. If you have fewer than 6 dog cards, draw the top card of the dog deck and add it to your pack. Then roll 1 die. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll place this card down here. We'll move the treat for now. Now they roll 1 die. So they need a 1, 2, 3, 6, or a 5. And they got a 4. They got the one number they didn't need. Now typically, you would add a number you can't place to your yard. And then once that total is over 7, you bust. But when you have treats, you can avoid that happening. As soon as you've rolled, before placing any dice, you can turn your treat in and roll that die again. And if you roll more than 1, you must roll all of them. Whatever dice you just rolled must be rolled again. And this time we got a 2. The 2 can be placed right here on Mudge. And that concludes the turn. Now, as the game progresses, eventually there will only be 1 trick card left face up. Once this occurs, you put a treat on that trick card, and the next player who uses it will get that treat. And then all of the other trick cards are turned face side up again. And that means they are all eligible to be used again by players. And this will happen throughout the game. Anytime you get down to 1 tile remaining, you'll put a treat on it and turn the rest face up. During your turn, if you chose to do a trick, but you manage to finish all of your dogs, you automatically get to score them. You'll do that by clearing away all the dice and then turning the cards over. They are now safe, and you have 4 of the 6 points needed to win. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you will never have more than 6 cards in your dog pack. So at the beginning of your next turn, you would draw 2, not 3, but 2, and then your goal would be to complete those dogs and score them in order to win. It is possible that on your turn there are not enough dice or treats for you to do what you need to do. If that is the case, you simply take what you can, even if it is less than what is required. And if on the slight chance the dice pool ever gets down to 0, everybody at the table busts, and everybody loses their dice off of their unscored dogs. Those go back to the pool, and then play continues as normal. And that's how to play spots. As you can see, this is a nice, lightweight game. If you're a fan of games like Yahtzee, you're going to love spots. Now, there is almost a little bit too much going on for somebody who comes from only playing a game like Yahtzee, because now you're not only trying to roll certain combinations, but you're also performing tricks to be able to roll a certain way. You got to plan for that. You're getting dog treats that you can use to re-roll, so you got to plan for that. And you're also trying not to bust by getting too many dice of too high a value in your yard. So there is a lot more going on, but I think it's pretty easy to pick up and a fun one to play. If you found this video helpful, the best thing you can do to help us out is subscribe, ring the bell, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. All of those things really help us out. If you'd like to see more dice game tutorial videos, I've got a playlist for you right here. And of course, if you'd like to do an even bigger, deeper dive into different types of games, you can head over to GameRules.com. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep on playing.